What up, guys? Welcome to Base Damage. This week, podcast number 29. It's just me from the regular group again, but hey, I got a super awesome special guest. I've been on one of his podcasts. I've been on his podcast before, but this week we bring to you the person who swept. I say swept, but won the Florida regionals. Should I just say Waifu Wars, or would you just prefer me to say Bentley?
You can say Beanley, yeah.
Bentley, it's pronounced Khoum?
Khoum.
Khoum. Okay, sorry. So Bentley Khoum, basically was like giving us a play-by-play of like how the regionals was going and whatnot. It's like, hey guys, I won it, and I was like, holy shit, go bro!
Yeah.
I was so like super happy for that. We were like, just all the guys at the shop when I mentioned that to them, they just all were like, "Wait, are you kidding me?" Like they were like ecstatic about it. They were so happy to hear that, dude. But yeah, dude, thanks for being on the show. I say show, but thanks for being on the podcast. It's much appreciated.
No, it's my I'm very happy to be able to be on this podcast. Excited to like give like the 411 on like the whole experience, because like.
Mm-hmm.
This was my first regional, so.
Oh, cool, Bean. Awesome. I've been to ones for you. I still need to plan to go to one for Weiss. I just had to basically be able to coordinate it and be able to travel type thing. But yeah, dude. Because I've been on your podcast before, and I was like, dude, I want to return the favor and get you on one of mine at some point, and this just worked out perfectly. So.
Yeah. It was fate.
Or
it's like the anime quote, it was fate. It was meant to be.
Absolutely. Before we get into it, though, I do have just a handful of announcements, just a couple things. Firstly is to whoever's listening, if y'all are interested in D&D, one of our buddies is Chris Cohn. He does a D&D Twitch stream. It's 5th edition. And they are doing a charity. Or they do a charity. Basically, people can donate to a particular charity through their stream. It's for Children's Miracle Network. Still, like they're gonna change it up, but they're just sticking with that for now, which is just really awesome. Obviously, donating to charity and whatnot is always good. The other being, we are going to have our next tournament and next giveaway coming up very soon. So the voting video should be out this week or next week. I think this week. We've added, in addition to still doing card sleeve giveaways, we've added some different SPs to the pool, to the prize pool. So just various ones that I've been picking up since the last tournament, and even got one it was a triple rare climax from the Cinderella Girls. Everyone's leader, Minami.
You guys got that?
We got a triple rare of that, dude, and
dude, that's like that triple rare is like it's like it's like seeing a UFO. It's like very hard to pick it up.
Exactly. So that's why I'm like wanting to try to like I figured, you know what? Why the heck not? I'm either gonna sell this or I'm gonna like do a giveaway, and I'm like, well, hell, we'll just put it in the giveaway. Why not? So actually, Bentley, I'll send you a picture of what all we have. So
right.
or you can just watch it in the video. It doesn't matter. We show all the cards that they have in the video anyway. Like there was an SP Kasumi from the Bang Dream trial deck, the full foil one.
Oh, nice.
That was really pretty. It just a whole bunch of different ones I just have collected. I figured, you know what, I might as well, otherwise they're just sitting in a book. So shout outs to Pay 3 for Hanyo, because he found out I have an SP of the Summer Festival date Hanyo. He was like, what? I want. So, but that should be coming up soon. We're going to get that underway. The details for how to enter in that giveaway will be in the voting video. Just check that out when it comes out. But yeah, let's hop right into this. So one of the first things I was going to ask you was, how long, Bentley, have you been playing Weiss Schwarz in general?
I started in 2015.
Hmm.
The first set that I the set that like attracted me into the game was Persona 4, the English version.
Dude, nice.
And like I watched this one guy's video. You guys might know him, Kudo Kun.
I feel like
I
I've heard the
watched
name. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but go ahead.
Yeah, I watched like his videos on like the basics of Weiss Schwarz and like how cards are like what's the composition of a card and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And then like luckily enough he did a video on Yukiko, which is obviously best girl in Persona 4.
There you go.
um, but yeah, I made a Yukiko deck out of that, and it was pretty fun. But then like eventually, I think what most people realize is after playing Persona, like after getting into English a bit, they realize like, oh, Persona 4 has a JP set, but then like, and you look through all the cards for a JP, and then you realize how come we didn't get these cards for English? So I was kind of like sad about that, and
Yeah.
during the same year, that's when Kantai came out, and that was like my actual like first like serious competitive set
Mm.
that I got into, and like for my community at the time when it was still alive, because my community is dead right now. Um, Everyone was like saying, "Oh, what's Kantai or whatever," and like I like by then like I knew like what the meta sets were or whatever in JP and stuff like that.
Mm.
So like, and I was like warning people like Kantai is going to be the set that like scares people like when it comes to English. And yeah, I got like I think 8 boxes of Kantai at the time.
Oh my god.
And I got like pretty much all the cards I needed.
Dude.
But yeah.
Like, I remember when I was like started picking up the Kantai sets and whatnot, and they're like looking through Weiss, and they're like, hey, what's, okay, well, we got SAO, we got AOT and all this, and then someone looked at it and went, the hell is Kantai? And then I went to answer and realized I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, I don't know. Does it have an anime? And I just was like, shit, girls, they're fabulous. And then I didn't realize I didn't even know where it came from. So,
Like I knew it had like a the desktop game, the online game, but
Yeah.
like I got into the anime first,
mhm.
and then to try like understand like the flavor behind some of the cards, because the one thing I like about Weiss is like how like the flavor like
Mhm.
like shows in the card, like the characters and stuff like that, and
Yes.
and then eventually I started playing the desktop game, because they made it easier to like sign up, because before you had to do like a lottery system, and like you had to like set up your desktop to like a certain time, like Japan time, and try to get in and stuff like that. But now you just have to have a proxy to like be able to play it online.
Hmm. I had wanted to try to do that at some point. Then I just haven't tried to pick up the proxy yet.
Yeah.
But that is cool, dude. Just, hey, Kantai, gotta love it. But like you said earlier, so this is the first Weiss regionals you said you have ever attended.
Yeah, it's also like the first TCG regional like in general that like I attended. Like I've played
Mhm.
Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic and Force of Will before, but like I
yeah,
never
of
actually
course.
went to their TCG. Like this is like their regionals. This was like my first regional in general.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Popped your cherry.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I didn't go to like the shop tourneys, like the locals that the quote unquote like locals that I go to is like 2 hours away, and like
Yeah.
I have my friend Enrique drive me there.
Mhm.
But they had like the shop tournament to get the buy card, but like I just didn't have the time to go because of work. So I went into the regional without a buy card. So it was kind of intimidating knowing that like some people had buy cards, and
Mhm.
they had like a better chance of like making it to top 8, because of the buy card influences a lot when it comes to like top cut score.
Yeah, when people found out about that, that was, like you said, something that people were just kind of like, I don't want to say freaking out over, but it was definitely a concern. And they're like, well, damn, okay, all these other people who are, I can't remember how many they said got removed from it,
Yeah.
but I think this was specifically in the Dallas one, where it was one Andy went to,
Yeah.
where he's like, all these people that were like X1 but the buy cards weighed so much heavier, and just they obviously just kind of got the shaft to it, not just for the round thing, but just for that in general. So once that happened, people are just going, okay, Bushiroad, come on, get your shit together. So.
Yeah, for this regional, there was only 63 or 64 people. So it was like, I think it's one of the lowest turnouts for a regional. But we still had 6 rounds, and there was X1s. The X1s, they made into top cut, like the people who were like 5-1s. But and there was only one other person that made it into top cut, that was X2, my friend Lewis, who ended up getting second. But he had a buy card though, so that really influenced a lot in him getting into top cut.
That definitely helped. That's really cool though, because I would never expect an X2 to get into something like that without something like that. So
yeah.
But yeah, like you said, they did. Oh shit! What was it? 6 rounds.
Yeah, 6 rounds.
After the whole issue, once again going back to Dallas, where it was like 100+ people, and they only did 5. So after all that whole thing of, oh well, they changed the rules to match the Japanese or something or other, and I'm just like, okay. And then they did this whole thing with the rounds. I'm just going, whatever, bro.
I can understand how it can be like frustrating for people who did get X1 but didn't make it to top cut, like because I did X1 and I made it to top cut. But if I was in a situation where I was in Dallas, and I'd be upset too. So I can understand the reasons from like both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. It is one of those things where it's like, shit,
Okay.
Okay, so I actually thought of something else to ask you in a bit, but I'll get to that later. So in this particular one, what series did you use?
I topped with Tularu, green yellow, aka Yamikon. And like the other decks that I have are English Meta Kantai, blue, green, yellow. I used to play the Shimakaze build, but my friend Enrique showed me the light with the Haguro build.
I'm a personal fan of the Haguro build as well. It's just, I mean, to each their own. I ain't gonna fault one person for choosing one over the other at this point, but just personal preference. So.
And then I also have for my JP decks, I have maxed out Puyo Puyo, because I like how like the set, like the whole set in general is pretty diverse with like different types of play styles. Like there is like a meta build, but it's like there's so many cards you can like change out or whatever, and it like pretty much has like all the utility that you can expect from a set.
It's got so much utility. It has a whole nother color.
yeah, it's a
like, I know it's not allowed, but
yeah, I noticed from like my when I play like Kantai or Tularu, the decks are pretty linear. They have a certain like set like game plan, but with like Puyo Puyo, like you have 2 different level 1 combos that you could go to or whatever, which I thought was pretty cool. And I also have OG IMAS 765. I liked watching the anime and Takane's Best Girl.
Yes.
But, I like the effects that stood out, like the free runner Azusa, and then the original Azusa, and then also the Haruka, the gentle positive, where it taps your opponent's standing characters, and it just naturally gets bigger when your opponent like declares attack or if they brainstorm. It makes them have to think and like actually do math in Weiss.
Math? What is this math you speak?
And then finally, the deck that I have for funsies is Sengoku Basara. Like I'll admit it's a pretty like depressing set, but I just love the series a lot. Where like I just want to support it, and I'm trying to max out that deck as well.
I understand. Like, I couldn't get into the series much after the first couple episodes, but that first episode where they just go ham with that like animation and everything.
Yeah, it's literally like Dynasty Warriors, but like on crack.
Absolutely. Like, they smoked a lot of weed on that. They smoked a lot. But it looks so good. But then you just later on, it just kind of mellowed out for me, and I was. But either way, that's still cool. Okay. So rocking the Tularu, and just I've been testing out the Yamikon as well, and it is some crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's dirty, but like it wins.
Absolutely. But for basically, also, this being your first regionals as well, in your opinion, how was the overall regionals experience?
Okay, so my whole trip to regionals was
Mm-hmm.
we planned a group of friends and I we planned it like a month before because let's be honest, if I planned it like 2 months or like longer than that, people are gonna forget about it. So
Yeah.
I did it like a month before, and we basically fit 7 people into like an executive suite. But there was only like one bed, like a one king size bed, and like there was a pull out for the sofa.
Mm-hmm.
So you can try to imagine how that went out.
I can just see you jumping onto the bed, going, "Mine."
Yeah, pretty much. I live in St. Pete, so to get from St. Pete to Jacksonville is 4 hours.
Oh wow.
So what we ended up doing was my friend Enrique and Donnie, we went to Orlando first on Friday to just like play test at Manatide. Shout out to Manatide,
Mm-hmm.
being the Orlando locals. And
Mm-hmm.
we play tested there, and then we ended up sleeping at our friend Lewis, the guy who got second place,
Mm-hmm.
at his place, like just to crash or whatever. And actually, I ended up getting the chance to play the PlayStation virtual reality stuff.
Ooh.
I got to play Cinderella Girls and Miku VR. That shit was like scary,
Oh my god.
but it was pretty cool though, like how far like technology has come.
True.
And then also Lewis makes the best pina coladas. Just point that out there.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, the next day, Saturday, before we were like gonna journey off to Jacksonville, we went to another store in Orlando called Cool Stuff to sell some Yu-Gi-Oh mons.
There you go.
And then we had Chick-fil-A. And like we woke up at like 10 or whatever, like in the morning, but we didn't actually get to the hotel until like 7 p.m. because we were just like having fun at Cool Fest and just like play testing some more.
Mm-hmm.
And like from Orlando to Jacksonville was only 2 hours, so you could tell how much time we like just spent around goofing off.
There you go.
Yeah. And we had to check in at like we didn't have to check in, but check-in started at 3 p.m. So and some of our friends got to the hotel at 3 p.m. So they had to wait for us for like a good 4 hours.
Oh my god.
But that same night, once we like got situated into the hotel, we play tested some more, and I ordered some pizza for everyone, and we watched some anime. We watched a lot of School Rumble, and some Yu-Gi-Oh mons, the memes videos that like people post on YouTube.
Absolutely.
And like we all didn't go to sleep till like 2 a.m. So I pretty much got like 5 hours of sleep. Lewis, he told me he only got like 20 hours of sleep on the couch.
God.
And ironically, people said like the room felt hot or whatever. So some people started taking their shirts off or like their pants off or whatever. And like ironically, like I myself, like I'm gay, but like I was the one that was like fully clothed, and like I was just trying to get some sleep. Like people were like jumping on top of each other and like doing some stuff. I don't know. Like I don't want to get into it. Yeah, it was a blast though.
It's like, guys, this is very difficult for me right now. But I'm trying
everyone was like hugging to like their dakimakuras or whatever.
Oh my god.
Like I didn't have one, and I was just trying to like hide behind like the covers and just like get some sleep. But like on the day of regionals, it was pretty interesting. We woke up at like 7 a.m. and we like went down to like put our stuff in the car. We went to go eat at the breakfast, at the hotel restaurant, which is pretty expensive, by the way.
Yeah, they can get pricey.
Yeah, registration didn't start till 9. I wrote my deck list ahead of time, like on Friday. So like when I did have to like write down my deck list, I could just like pull up my phone and just like copy it down, so I didn't have to like go through my cards and like frantically like have the exact ratios or like know the exact card number for it. So it took out some. It was like less stressful for me.
It's a lot easier with it being organized. Yeah.
Yeah, I still made some mistakes on my deck list where I had to like cross it out and like try and make it look legible. But I'm glad I passed deck check. The actual regionals didn't start till 10:30, and it didn't. It lasted until 6:30 p.m. Oh, it's because I was in finals. But I think after around like 4 or 5 is when people left.
Yeah.
There wasn't any breaks. They announced that they announced that there was like 63 people and there was going to be 6 rounds and there was no lunch break. So if you had to use the restroom or like go get a drink or a snack, then you had to like go in between, like if you the time that you did finish a round.
Yeah. Like I'm a big guy, and I would just be upset to hear like, what? No lunch break? What the hell? You know?
Yeah. And then like the food that like the snacks that they did have like outside of the venue was like pretty like expensive. Like I went like at some point at lunchtime I went to go get like a bottle of water and a peanut cookie outside, and it was like $6 for like both of them.
Golly.
Yeah. And I took bathroom breaks in between rounds because like I have a small bladder and I can't concentrate when when like I have to go pee. So but yeah, in general the people there were pretty nice and friendly. The judges were pretty chill and understanding, and I got to meet some of the Atlanta people, and they're pretty cool. And I saw some like familiar local faces. But I think overall people were having a good time.
That's always good.
But yeah, that's pretty much my like overall regionals experience.
Mm-hmm. Your buddy Lewis, you said he got second. What was he running?
He was running the Umi Waifu deck.
Okay.
Yeah. It's mostly red, but it has like some yellow splash for like the level 1/1, the 1/1 beater.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that comes in SP form. Yeah.
Even more so than like all of us were really excited when we found out you had won. But when Matt had found out that an Umi Waifu deck topped, he flipped. He like was just yelling in the middle of the restaurant we were in at the time. It was just yes.
I mean, I'm not surprised because like Umi's best girl from Original Love Live. So
it just was so funny. Just his reaction to that was just like what. Like he had seen in the past where it was like okay the Hanukkah deck tops or whatever, and but then sees this and just like he had been running her like the week before in the locals and was just like yes, he was so happy.
One of my friends, Nathan, he was running a Honoka Waifu deck. I didn't get a chance to play against him, but it looked pretty savage. I think it ran like +2 soul as well, like on top of having the Honoka walls.
Oh yeah, no, she gets savage. It is insane. I put the fear in a lot of the people at locals with that deck. So, but yeah, dude. Okay. So after having won this, you were definitely planning to go to Worlds, right?
Hell yeah!
So freaking
yeah, I want to go if I can. Like, it'd be cool if they allow us to like venture out a bit, so like we're not stuck into like the hotel, or whatever they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Whereas like I'd like to go to Akihabara to get because that's like my Mecca visit.
Yes. Oh my goodness, yes. I would do the same. Like, I don't even care if they're like, no, you have to stay here. I would sneak out in some way, shape, or form because you're in freaking Japan. That is what you do if you are a nerd like me.
Yeah. I want to go to like the 7-Elevens in Japan because like I used to watch a lot of J vloggers, and like most J vloggers they do videos and like on J like interesting, unique Japanese stuff, and like they all seem to do a video on 7-Eleven because apparently it's like pretty good. Like the food's pretty good and pretty cheap, and I've always wanted to try it in onigiri, an actual onigiri from Japan.
Try to find the Lawson shops.
Yeah, they have like all these promotions, like anime promotions for like cafes and stuff, and like you could like get like free mini prizes or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I wish they did that type of stuff in the U.S.
Exactly. They did that for like a lot of the Kantai girls for a lot of like Japanese promotional stuff. So I don't blame you one bit. Like
yeah. I know at like one point they had like this. I don't know which restaurant chain it was or fast food chain it was, but they had like this Attack on Titan burger Titan thing with like there's like stacks of like meat patties or whatever.
That is it. I'm gonna have to Google that.
Yeah. And it would just be cool to like go to like the conveyor sushi belt places that like offer like $1 sushi plates or whatever.
Yes.
Just like go ham on that and just like maybe check out like the JP scene for like Weiss, like see what like merchandise they have there, like like how cheap or like how it's priced, and like see how JP players play on like a personal level, and maybe try to get some J-pop stuff because I'm really into J-pop.
Absolutely. I completely understand where you're coming from on that. As someone who plows through so much music in general, especially like when new anime starts up, it's like, all right, let's find new anime themes that I like, you know? So I completely understand where you're coming from on that. The Worlds, though, isn't going to happen until, like, what, basically January of next year?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a ways off, but you got plenty of time to plan for it, so...
Yeah, it's in late January, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think the way it is that like all the people who won the spring and autumn circuits for English, they all go there at the same time. They compete.
Yeah, because like before they changed it up where it was like you had to go to the Continentals first or something like that. Yeah. So okay, that works out a lot better to me personally, but that'll be interesting. Do you think by then you'll still be trying to run Tool over, or do you think you're gonna try to change it up?
A part of me like wants to keep Tularu because like it's a pretty strong set. But by that time, like there'll be Persona 5 coming out. I want to like play test, and I want to make Persona 5 like a very meta contending set because a lot of people people that like I hang out with, they say like, oh, Persona 5 is nothing or whatever. It's like it's not like scary or whatever. But and I can understand where they're coming from, but I think Persona 5 definitely has like a spot to be like meta, like be like for English at least.
Yeah.
But maybe I might try to say, oh, the Switch combo looks pretty dank, and then like especially in English, there isn't really that much that English can deal with besides like a couple sets that have like anti-damage counters or risk counters or whatever. And even then, you're still gonna have to deal some damage from the Switch combo.
Yeah.
And then we also don't know what other sets are gonna be coming out later this year, so I don't know. But mostly, I guess a safe bet would be Tularu, I guess.
Yeah, considering we only have like up to I think June projected as far as what we're currently getting at the time of this recording. It's like June we're getting either June or July we're getting what was it? The Bang Dream Booster? No, it's P5 and then...
it's P5. June is P5.
June's P5. Okay. Yeah, okay. I think they've like, mentioned something about the one after that, but P5 is like at least the latest thing that we know right now, and it's like, okay.
I think Bang Dream's coming out like later after P5, but I don't know if it's like July or August, so...
Oh, okay. That might be a little confusing then.
Yeah, I think Abyssal's already out, right? Abyssal's already...
Abyssals will be out in May, theoretically.
Oh, yeah. With Accel World, right?
Yeah, they're doing that with the Accel World, like literally the same day release.
I see.
Here's hoping. Well, I guess they did that because it's an EB, so...
Yeah.
That's what But, you said, you definitely say Tularu is a very, very strong set. At this point, we'll go into basically the deck because you sent me the link for that. And if I can get my... Okay, there we go. Minimize that. And basically just kind of going over your deck choices and or basically the choices for what you ran and for ratios and whatnot. I've got it pulled up, and I'll just start at like the level zeros and just however you want to do it. Just I can just scroll as necessary.
I run 17 level zeros, and the only fours I run for the level 0 lineup is the cute pajamas Mikon.
She good.
Yeah, that card is pretty strong. Like being able to clock swap and get a card from your clock and like replace it, like that's pretty much another hand for you.
Yeah.
That you can work around with. There were times during the regionals where like I had the Shimakaze clone, Mikon Kaze, I like to call it, or Yami that's stuck in.
It's a very accurate term, though.
Yeah, and I just grab it and replace it. And on top of being a brainstormer, so like even if like you're low on climaxes, you can like go through your deck fast. I sometimes during the regionals I just brainstorm just for get damage out of my deck.
Yeah, I feel like most every deck probably needs some type of brainstormer in some way, shape, or form.
Mm.
And obviously this being no different, it's you get so much out of the way if you know that you've eaten through a lot of climaxes that have a lot left in deck, and just get rid of that damage. But
Rest in peace, Evangelion.
there you go.
But but yeah, even if you're able to get a climax, and that's just more value for you. Yeah. Before we get on to more of the level 0 lineup, I forgot to mention that my whole build in general for Tularu is it's supposed to be like mid-rangey. Like it's supposed to be able to deal with like other decks, like whatever the matchup is, like being able to adapt to it. So for my level 0 lineup, it's more focused on like utility. Like it's not power based. Like I don't run the sitting Yamis. For sitting Yami, if you guys don't know, it's for every other character you play, up to 2 times she gets 1k power, so she can go up to 4k, and then she also has the ability, resonance ability. I think if you reveal the level 3 Yami, I think if she reverses a character, and then you can get one of your characters and put it to the back row and rest it. That last effect is actually pretty strong. I would consider it as a very JP effect, because like in JP it's more like relevant, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I just felt like it wasn't really worth warranting running it, because I don't want to be in those awkward situations where like I open up with sitting Yami, but I don't open up with the level 3 Yami. So at most she's just a 4k for a turn on your turn, and then on your opponent's turn she's probably going to die anyways. But and also I don't run the oversized trial deck, the can't side attack 3500. Yeah.
Loves licking Maya. Yeah.
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 That card, I can understand why people run it, because if you can maintain board presence at level 0, then that's generally a plus. Like you're getting value off of that. But personally, I feel like later on in the game, it's just going to be a 3500 vanilla essentially during later games. I'd rather have like some utility, like more utility. Like I ran 3 of the sitting Mekons. Like some people run 2. I guess I can understand, but I like seeing 3 because I feel like I want to get that out in games where like salvage, my opponent's taking advantage of salvage. I want to be able to like put pressure on them.
Absolutely.
Being able to having the 500 in front, especially because you want your Shimakaze clones to be able to reverse things.
Yeah.
And the mill 3 is always nice. I've had games during regionals where like I know I only had like 1 climax left in my deck, but I still had like a ton of cards in my deck, and I wanted to like get closer to refresh. That's why I value utility more. I run 3 of the sitting Maya. If you guys don't know, she's pay 1, put her into clock. When she becomes reversed, you look at top 2 cards and you pick 1, and then you put the rest into the waiting room. You want to get to level 1 first before your opponent, so you can get your farms off your Mekons. And the fact that it's any card, like it doesn't have to be a character card. You can be like the Mekon climax, the gold bar. And the fact that
you can grab the climax, you can grab the comforting warmth event if you wanted, to search some more, so whatever.
And the fact that the way it's worded is that you don't have to reveal it to your opponent. So I like to like not show it to my opponent, so it kind of like intimidates them in a sense, I guess.
It's not like going, oh man, what the hell did he pick? Yeah.
Yeah, even though like I was drawn to 2 climaxes. I run 3 of the sitting Yuis, the clock bomb. She also has the other effect where if you have one or less other characters, then they get 1500 power. That effect wasn't really relevant in my matchups, but I mostly run it for the clock bomb. I noticed this card a lot during the mirror match, because some people ran like the oversized Maya, and like I just play this and like it just ignores Maya being an oversized.
Yeah.
And it also like leaves the field, so like your opponent doesn't have a target to farm off of. And then she's also in later games, she's just there just to be able to clock something and like get green. Like if you don't have green yet, I mean, you should be able to get green first. Your priority is to get green at level 1.
The clock bomb effect is so useful as well,
Mhm.
especially
Yeah,
for like going against like a Kantai player running. Like if they got Clumsy Girl Inaduma, Clumsy Girl Inaduma only goes off when she hits the waiting room.
yeah,
So I have
definitely.
purposely uh, rammed one of her into an Inaduma to send her to clock so they won't get any value off of her, and they're going really
Yeah,
douche move, bro.
yeah. Or it's
So.
like if it's on your turn, you can essentially sacrifice your sitting Yui for like a Hibiki too. Like in general, I don't really care about like anti-heal attacks getting into effect because like
Mhm.
I then the level 3 Mikan just becomes a card for me to clock, and I'm more focused on getting triple Yamis anyways.
Exactly.
But yeah, just clock bomb I think is one of the better bomb effects in my opinion. Unless like your opponent like ends up canceling and they have like no cards in clock, then you just feel bad.
It's like, oh dang.
Yeah, I run probably one of the more expensive cards in the deck. 3 of the Pucci Mikan, or Petite Mikan is the
Oh,
English.
petite, yeah.
Yeah. And on play, choose one of your characters and they get 1500 power for a turn, housework or transformation, which is pretty
Mhm.
much everyone in this deck besides the sitting Yui.
Yeah.
But the way it's worded is that you can technically give it to itself. So if you have like if you have no target, if you don't like want to choose another target, or you have no targets for the turn, this can be a 3500 beater.
Hmm.
But I mostly use this in cases where I'm afraid my Mikan isn't afraid. I'm afraid one of my Mikons isn't able to get the search safely, so I'll play a petite Mikon to
Hmm.
solidify me getting a search, like regardless, because their backup won't be big enough for my
Exactly.
Mikons. Yeah.
Especially like because a lot of what I've had to do as well is like using the 1/1
Mhm.
Maya or not Maya. I'm sorry, Yami that has the other climax combo with Taiyaki to give a buff. Like
Mhm.
if you're not able to drop that the same turn, the petite Mikon makes up for that really well.
Yeah,
So
definitely. And again, with the whole utility aspect, the 1500 power kit is relevant during any level of the game. So if you want
yeah,
to give this like your level 1 beaters or like your level 2 or your level 3s, then more power to you. So that's why I like this card a lot. Most people run 2, and that's understandable. But I like playing 3 because for English, I notice decks are more power based. Like you want to be able to like win lanes and like be able to keep a board presence.
hmm,
And then I just ran one of the TD drop searchers.
yeah, Taiyaki,
Yeah.
so good.
It came in. It wasn't really an MVP the deck, but it definitely helped in like where I need to get like another Mekon searcher, or if I needed to desperately get another Yami if I haven't grabbed it yet.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah. And for the turn, it just becomes a 3K beater as well, which is it's a respectable size
Hmm.
before like assists and stuff. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty much my level 0 lineup.
Hmm. Uh,
For my level 1 lineup,
mhm.
I run 14 level zeros, and I run the 4 of the putting away closed Mekon.
The Mikankaze or
Yeah,
Mikakaze.
yeah. I think she's objectively better than Shimakaze because her first effect is she gets 1k power if all your other characters are Housebreaker Transformation, so that's pretty much everything in this deck besides
Hmm.
one card. So she's always going to be 5500 power before assist. So that's already better than like base power Shimakaze.
Exactly.
And, her climax is relevant, which is a gold bar. You'll see gold bar much more frequently compared to like 2k1s, and 1k1 in general is like a pretty strong climax power. Like being able to give everyone 1k power in one soul,
Hmm.
and especially if your opponent is low on climaxes, and that's why I notice a lot during my matchups is like people will be low on climaxes, and I'll capitalize on that and play my climaxes to make them take all that damage, so it's like hard for them to recover.
Exactly.
But yeah, I run 4 of her. I run 3 of Ellie Cone. Basically, it's nap time Mekon. She gets 500 for every other trans or housework characters, and she's 4,500 power. So with full field, she becomes 6,500 without assist.
Yeah.
So it's your vanilla beat. It's pretty much essentially a vanilla beater. Like, it's nice to have.
But it's nice that it, like, especially because you say, like, full field, because you're more than likely going to have at least one assist, meaning she's essentially a 7K like the vanillas, but minus the cost of the vanilla. Yeah. So it's like, okay, no, please.
Yeah, 7K on the sides and 7.5 in the middle.
So, yeah.
I don't run the Rune build, I think it's called.
Yeah, Ren and Rune.
Yeah, I can understand why people run it. But I just like the traditional Tularu build. Some people are saying like how people are looking at the JP build and it's not applicable to the English meta, and I kind of agree with that. But I've had like experience with JP decks and like knowing like how JP decks run, and I think as long as you're understanding your matchups and like the situation of your deck in general, and like just knowing like what your cards, like your whole deck in general, like what the game plan is, like regardless, like I don't think there is a like true perfect build for like decks in Weiss Schwarz. That's why there's like so much variety with how you can build decks, even for like meta decks.
Exactly. There's always going to be some kind of variation, little, big or small, that can be done. And I like how people will try to find those and try to like, yeah, I'm looking at these two different builds, and honestly, like you said, with the Ren Rune engine, quote unquote, and like this build, and I'm messing with both, and I'm liking both, and it's like well, once I got the 4 Yamis, I could enjoy it more, but that's whatever. But like messing with both and just going, okay, both of these have their strengths, both of these have their weaknesses. But I like them both equally. It's like I don't know which to go for at this point. So, but yeah,
I run 2 of the Yami assist, the 1/1s, memories that connect to the future. Yami, her effect is assist like all your trans or housework characters in front get 500 power and hand on core. And when you play the Mekon Climax, the gold bar, you can give someone 2K power until the end of the turn. So obviously, most of the time you want to give it to your Mekon searchers. So on the sides they become 9K and 9.5. And I mentioned before in like my previous podcast that like for English at least, like a lot of sets can't deal with that power, like 9K or 9.5. Some sets will be able to like wall off, but like other sets will have, even if they are able to wall off, they still have that contention of like, okay, I have to sacrifice my one backup for this one Mekon, but then my opponent has 2 other Mekons, so they're probably gonna get 2 searches off.
At least.
Yeah. And just being able to hand on core and keep like your field like, well, people not people like understand this, but like Tularu is a compression based deck. What you want to do is you want to put your this 1/1 assist behind these the Mekon searchers, so you can rinse and repeat. Like assuming that like you get gold bars or like because they go to your hand. Like as long as you can rinse and repeat the combo and grab more cards from your deck while building up stock.
Absolutely, I noticed that when I was first test playing the deck and like. Do the climax combo with the Mekon, go to start swinging with them, and one of the attacks be a gold bar, and I'm sitting there going, I can do it again.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's absolutely so much compression that can be done, especially for just saving, like pitching one like an extra level 0 or something in hand. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to make this up next turn if they can't wall up or if they can't do anything about it.
Yeah, and you have the cards that you search off on for like your top end like Yami or like just a backup to like defend your Mekons. I've had cases where I grabbed the backup, the 2K costless backup, grabbing with ribbons Maya, and like essentially I get to keep my Mekons regardless, but also my opponent's characters get reversed. So I have an open lane that I can put like another card or whatever to like swing for more soul.
Mm-hmm.
So it's essentially a neg for your opponent, like essentially a plus for you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just like how the climax is a go bar 1k1. Like it just makes this whole engine so good.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I ran two of costless 2k costless backup, which is like it has that fake effect where if you have a Transit Housework character, you give another character in battle 1k. So
exactly.
it's always going to be a 2k costless backup.
It's the entire deck. So
some builds only one, and personally, like I don't feel comfortable with only just running one. I like to have two, just in case like those situations where like it gets into stock or something.
Yeah.
Or, like it gets into clock, but then it gets into the resolution zone and like you cancel the climax. The thing with like Yamikon is there's no way to salvage out your cards for the first set at least. I think you can splash the Brainstormer from the first. Isn't there like a Brainstormer double R?
Alien? It's a Nana. Yeah, it's an alien that could do that, and it salvages. I haven't seen anyone.
Or is it trait specific? I forgot.
I do not. I can find out. I have it right here. Yay for having the deck right close. For each climax reveal, choose one character. It's not specified.
Yeah.
It's just
yeah.
It's a pay one, tap two characters. That's all.
Yeah,
that's
technically you could splash that, but then like it's very hard to grab that card because it's not trait related to this deck.
Exactly.
And then you'd rather have like your back rows, like the sitting Mekons or the 1/1 Yami assist anyways. So
yeah.
Or the Brainstormer, but
understandable. I do really like the tech of the 1/1 Maya.
Yeah, the Maya. Well, what she does is she's 6k, and then if you have 3 or more other transfer housework characters, she gets 1500 power in the ability where she can't be bombed by opponent's characters. So your level 1 bombs are irrelevant against her. So sets like Cinderella Girl with the 1/0 Kaneko, I believe that's a level 1 reverser. I think Log Rising has a level 1 reverser.
I've noticed that with like a couple series. Like once you start looking into it, like several series actually have like the level 1 reversers. Just only but so few of them get run.
Yeah.
At all. So.
Yeah. Essentially, she becomes 7,500 power without assist. So on the side, she becomes 8k, and in the middle, she's 8.5, not including backups as well.
Yeah.
So she's a wall card that's pretty annoying for your opponent to get rid of. And then even if I've seen people in my matchups try to get rid of her, and they put so much resources just into this one card, and then this card will be in front of the 1/1 Yami assist, so I can just encore it anyways. So they put so much resources into this card. So that's why I like this card a lot, because it becomes relevant in metas where there's level 1 bombs. Fortunately for me, I didn't have any CG or like matchups that were level 1 bombs.
Mm-hmm.
So originally, this deck was, I ran a split of 2 of the 1/1 Mayas and then the Nap Time Mekon. Mm-hmm. So it's more so I have like preference, but I like the costless LE clone. I like the LE clone, the 1/0, because it is the 1/1 Maya is nice, but like I think the deck really doesn't want to be paying more stock than what it does already, because you're already paying 1 stock for the remember the 1/1 Yami assist, or like the Brainstormer if you want to brainstorm to generate more plus. So, or the events, the search event.
Yeah.
So you want to keep to the whole compression theme of this deck while still maintaining board presence. Yeah, that's pretty much my level 2 lineup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my level 1 lineup.
I realized it right after you said it.
Yeah.
But the level 2 lineup is very short, though.
Yeah, the great segue to level 2. I won only one of the good at cooking Mekon. She's a 2/1 7k, and then she's facing a level 3 or higher. On attack, she gets 3k until the end of your opponent's next turn. So the way it's worded is that if your opponent has an early drop and you play this, it will be 10k even after your turn. So your opponent's gonna have to deal with this annoying card, and she also comes with the ability where when another of your turns or housework character attacks, she gets 1k power until end of turn. So basically, this card will pretty much attack last, which will be at 9k without assist. I put this card in because for decks that have like early drops, I don't want to be in the awkward position where I have nothing to deal with, or just like a beater, or if they have like a beater or whatever, I want to be able to get rid of their beater.
Yeah.
While keeping my field alive.
Like what were the early plays that you would probably that you would worry about more so than others?
If I face Cinderella girls, they have Anzu that heals, yeah, and obviously Tulu doesn't have an anti heal tax, but being able to heal is like kind of annoying for like a Tulu player because like you want your opponent to die pretty much. But and the thing with Tulu is that like the level 2 game, it's like it suffers that Kantai collection set 1 syndrome where your level 2 game is kind of awkward, where it doesn't you don't have a level 2 game essentially.
Yeah.
So I like to have like some type of backup plan for this, and even then, like if I don't see it, like if it triggers, it's just another soul trigger.
It's always good to have a darkness plan.
Yeah.
Not bad jokes are bad, but that's whatever.
Desperately needed. I'll search it out with the Brainstorm or the level 1 Mekon or the event. So, this card did have some applications though for the finals when that's when the only drops I really dealt with during my whole day was the Titans. Round 2 was the blue Titans, but then like this card obviously is not going to be able to deal with the Titans. But and I couldn't even get it anyways because it ended up in my waiting room or stock or whatever. So, but this card was relevant during the finals with the Umis. There's early drops of Umis, and I gained power from that. But yep, that's pretty much it for my level 2 lineup. Some people run the 2-1 the Ren. Is her name Rune?
Rune.
Rune?
Yeah.
The girl version of the switch. The girl version of the 9500 that becomes a level 1.
Yeah.
I can understand why. It's like the demerit is whatever. Like if you come across level 1 bombs, then I guess you just avoid playing that card because I don't know. I just prefer this good at cooking Mekon instead because I feel like she has more applications. Because I don't know if the rune will be big enough against like early drop level 3s. So
true, because the Mekon basically gets big enough like on its own, as opposed to like for the rune you'd have to invest a little more resources or buffs or whatever.
Yeah, essentially, for the last attack, if you're going against a level 3 with this card, it'll be 12k before like assist. So it's a pretty respectable power. And even if it gets reversed, and you can just encore it anyways with the 1-1 Yami assist. So, yep, that's pretty much my level 2 lineup. And for my level 3s is the premier card of the whole series, I feel like, is the 3-2 Yami. Her first effect is hexproof and getting 1500 power if all your characters are housework or transformation, which is it's a free ability essentially.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, and hexproof is really strong in Weiss Schwarz. The reason why I say this is because Weiss it doesn't have that much interaction compared to other games like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess. But when it does have interaction, it's super important. Like when you back up a card and being able to like keep your character but your opponent loses their character, or like anti-damage counters like Compass or Project Darkness. Those situations can like change the course of the game. But this card straight up denies the whole interaction of Weiss Schwarz. So that's why I feel like it's one of the I guess oppressive cards where like it just ignores your opponent. And the fact that its other ability, being able to, with the climax, the gentle time to win, 1k1, being able to give itself and someone else an extra soul. Not extra soul. I mean,
cancel burn.
Yeah, cancel burn is pretty scary. If you're going any player that played against Toru know that like if you're around level 3, like you have some damage, then there's a good chance that you might die that turn if your opponent like triple Yamis.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why this card is so scary. Funny. This card is kind of sacky for me because like one of my favorite matchups is I killed someone at level 2. I got triple. I think I got like two Yamis. I think 2 or 3 Yamis, and like I killed them from level 2-5 to game over. And I was gonna die that turn anyways. I was 3-6, and I had like a couple cards left in my deck, so I was gonna die from refresh. So, I triggered a soul. So like I had enough damage to like kill him. So, but in general, this card is pretty strong. It wins games.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Burst counter doesn't do anything. Compass doesn't do anything. The only thing you can really interact is like with a heal counter. Like CG has a 3-1 Hanako counter, the dog counter that you can heal when it gets 2k power.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But then even if your Yamis die, say if your opponent lives and your Yami dies, you have this 1-1 Yami assist that you can just encore it back. And if you have another gentle time climax, then your opponent's pretty much dead next turn.
Exactly. If they somehow magically lived before and they don't kill you, they're not living again.
That's why I think I suggest for players that like if you go against Yami, then like should be careful when it comes to clocking like later parts of the game. Like if you're like I don't know if you should really clock at like beyond level 3 if like before your opponent triple Yamis. Like I don't know if that's a safe way to play into against like a Tularu player because you're just gonna be asking to get killed next turn. I mean, unless you heal it off, but still.
Yeah, I mean,
like I've played against this deck as well when I had Kantai. Like I used English Kantai for a set, and I guess I played against this deck when it was JP at the time, and like it shat all over my Kantai deck. So the way I see Tularu is like it's essentially it's what Kantai wants. Like Kantai is oppressive in its own way, being like anti-heal and anti-salvage in English, and being able to triple Akagi. But the thing with Akagi is she's still vulnerable to, or Akagi or Musashi, they're vulnerable to Darkness Plan, or Project Darkness, I mean, or like the rest counter from CG. So yeah, they're still prone to anti-damage counters, whereas Yami just says nope. For my level 2, for my other level 3s, I run 2 of the Mikan Yuki. She's pretty much like an Electron Diva Miku, where she gets 500 for every other trans or housework characters, and when she's placed from hand to stage or by the change effect, you heal 1. I don't run the change, obviously, but the heal is always nice. Like it's there in cases I need it, but like I said with Kantai, this just becomes a dead card just for me to clock, so it's no biggie. Like I don't really care if I got anti-heal tax on me.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, I'm not running, you're only running 2 copies of it as well, so it's kind of like, okay.
Yeah. And for the final card for level 3 character is the 3-2 Maya Kawasaki. On play, you look at up to X, where X is equals to your housework and transformation characters, including herself. So if she's the last card to play, then you get to look up to top 5, and it can be any card too. So it's very similar to the 0-0 Maya, where like you pick a card, and then like you don't have to show it to your opponent too. The way it's worded is you don't have to show it to your opponent. I mean, you could as like a common courtesy, but I play this as a way in those emergency situations where I don't have the climax for Yami.
Yeah, I've been able to do that before. Like just dig either for the climax or just whatever. And
I forgot to mention Yami digs for her climax. That's also Project Darkness. That's why she's also stupid.
This is true.
Yeah. And for my oh yeah, and also for the Maya Kurosaki, like I guess she gets power for your turn. She gets 1,000 for
Mm.
each of your other transit house work. So she becomes essentially 13-5, I
Mm.
think. Yeah, 13-5 before back
Before,
row. So
yeah,
so you're pretty much going to be winning that lane for that turn. And
guaranteed.
yeah, and if you somehow needed to keep her, then you can just hand encore her with the back row.
What's that face? Just adorable.
But mostly I like to put the Yamis behind Mikon, not, the 1/1 Yami back row so I can keep them in next turn in case my
Mhm.
opponent lives or whatever.
Yeah.
And for the events, I run two of the search events, the Comforting Darkness. Um, the way it's worded is you search for up to one trans character and up to one housework character. So pretty much one green character, but
Mhm.
that's not Yui,
Yeah.
and one yellow character, and you add them to your hand, and you shuffle your deck, and then you discard a card.
Mhm.
So you can pay out your extra climaxes that you don't need in your hand, or like you have Project Darkness in your hand at like level 1. Like some people, they keep that card in their hand like at early game. Like I don't understand why you would keep it. Like I guess if you're afraid, but it becomes essentially a dead card in your hand at early game. So you don't have to. I feel like as long as it goes into the waiting room and it goes into refresh, and you get your triple Yamis and you dig for your climax or the Project Darkness event, you shouldn't have to worry about that. So you can. I think Project Darkness is a good card to discard with Comforting Warrior as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, Comforting Warrior helps you get your 1/1 Yami assist that you need, or like the Shimakaze clone search.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's a pretty good card. It's a pretty good search event card. And taking out damage from your deck is always nice to have, since
Yeah.
you are taking out 2 cards.
Like you said before, like a lot of what it can do is that compression, and this just helps with that. So,
Mhm.
but 2 copies of that.
Yeah, some people want only one. I tried testing it out at one, but when I did test it out at one, I never saw it like to where I'd like it. I'd like it. So I feel when this card was one of the more seen cards throughout the day for me. So I like two. Two is a good number. I feel like for this card.
Okay.
And then I run 3 of the Project Darkness event, which is pretty much a money counter. If you don't know, it's an anti-damage. It's a guaranteed anti-damage counter. Um, and of course, unless they have like hexproof or whatever. But what it does is oh yeah, the way it's worded in English is
Yeah, they had to give the errata.
yeah, but pretty much you give one of your characters 1,500 power until end of turn, and then you pretty much choose one of your opponent's characters, and they can't deal damage to you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's essentially, if you only know English cards, it's essentially a guaranteed compass.
Exactly, because you got to pay 3 stock for it, but like you said, it's guaranteed. So to me, that's a fair trade-off.
And like if your opponent lives with like triple Yami somehow, you got 3 attacks in, so you get 3 stock anyway. So there's a good chance you're gonna play Project Darkness, and there's a good chance you'll probably get into your hand because you have the Yamis that cantrips draw 2, discard 1.
Mm-hmm.
So especially if you're in a compressed state, going to level 3 with Yami, like if you have like a lot of stock, like getting a lot of stock is not that hard for Tiller. Like I usually like normal size for me is like 6, and that's like the least I think least size I get into level 3. Like if I had like 8 or 10 or whatever, so there's a good chance you'll draw into this event.
All right.
And then the climaxes are the 4 of the yellow win trigger, the gentle time, the 1K ones, and obviously the gold bar Taiyaki key holder.
Yep.
That's pretty much it for the deck.
I mean, I like it, and I'm definitely gonna be. I'm still gonna be testing out like the various versions of this deck for a good while now, because I got to thinking about that. So this will definitely be interesting to see later on.
The way like I try to think of my level 1 games is like I want to maintain board presence without having to sacrifice hand on without having to use the hand on core ability. If I have to, then I have to. But like, it's harder for your opponent to like get off searches when you have like things like you searched off the backups or whatever. And, stuff like that. Yeah. Just being able to keep a board till level 3 with Tularu is always like nice. So
And just constantly having ways to say just no to your opponent. Just like, oh, you're gonna try to do this? No.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I would agree. I think this deck is pretty mid-rangey. It takes consideration when I was building this deck. I look at all like the JP builds that like topped at Worlds, whatever, and or at like the regionals in JP or whatever they have over there, and like some of them ran different cards, and like I just took cards that I personally like, and I love utility in Weiss, so I'm more of a utility guy at level 0s and like beaters at level 1, and then the end game level 3.
Understandable. But taking this in and going, running this deck at this regionals, of the games that you played, which match do you say was your favorite to play total?
Okay, so quickly my matchups were the first round was Kantai. It was blue red, a splash yellow for Musashi Compass. I think it was the Worlds build because like it was a maxed out Kantai deck. So it ran the Haguro level 2 switch combo and the level 3 Haruna where you top deck with the climax and then she takes.
Okay.
That top 3. Yeah. That was my first round. Second round was AOT Mono Blue Titans. Third round was Nisekoi green yellow Sugimi Chitoge deck.
Oh, okay.
It was Soul Rush based.
Yeah.
Fourth round was the Fate coin flip deck. That was actually my favorite, but I'll get into that. And fifth round, I forgot. I have it on my phone. Oh no, fifth round was Soundless Voice. That was the one that I lost to.
Okay.
That was the only one that I lost to. And sixth round was the mirror match with one of the people who ran Tularu as well.
Awesome.
But yeah, my favorite was the Fate coin flip deck. So if you guys don't know what that is, what you do is you pretty much play cards that return to your hand. Like you have these level 0s that like you like the Ilia. There's this Ilia from the second set, I believe, where you look at the top card and you add it if it's if it's like their trait specific. Yeah. And then you add it to your hand and you discard. And then there's also they run this Lancer. It's like a 2K level 0. But when it gets reversed, you reveal the top card. I think if it's like a weapons character or something like that, then if it's like a trait card that's in their deck, you return it back to your hand. So you have cards to reuse. And they have a level 1 saber that does the same thing. I think that it goes back to your hand or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So, and they run like stock souls. So what they do is they try to compress. They get cards. They get like level 0s or whatever from their waiting room, and they put it into their stock. And then they keep on having cards to reuse. And then at level 2, they play this 2-1 Gilgamesh from the second set, where I think with his climax combo, when you reverse a character, you mill 2 cards, and for each soul trigger, you deal that damage to your opponent like increments of 1, similar to Yami. So you do 1 of. So if you mill 2 like 2 soul trigger cards, then your opponent takes 2 damage at increments of 1. So the goal plan for up to that point is to compress a lot, and you have like soul trigger cards left in your deck, and then you get that guaranteed burn. And then the level 3s is I think I only saw the Musashis, the Saber Sashi, the Musashis or whatever.
Oh, okay.
He didn't get the chance to play it because I killed it from level 2 to 3.
Oh,
I probably would have died regardless, but if I somehow survived. But I knew when I was like going to lose that turn, I had to like go big or go home, and he took all that damage. So and it was funny because like he had 7 climaxes going back in, so he took 1 refresh damage. But he had a lot of stock, but he still took all that damage. So I was pretty sacky on my part, and like even the guy that was next to me, like he thought I was going to lose, and like he looked back and he's like, "Wait, you won?" So yeah, it was a pretty intense game, and like I think that deck is actually pretty fun to play against. The way you have to personally see it, it's a pretty fun deck.
Okay.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for my favorite deck. For my favorite matchup.
Okay. So that being favorite, which one was the least favorite, or did you like the least?
Um, it's actually a tie. I have a tie between Soundless Voice and the mirror matches.
Hmm.
Um, Soundless Voice, that round was horrible for me. He got to level 1 first, and then he so happened to have he ended up getting triple lens, and with the Soundless Voice combos, he just kept on playing it every single turn. And
Oh my
I
goodness.
couldn't have any. My Mekons couldn't get searches off, so I just had to play the climax and like side for one because I don't want to. And I had like a lot of climaxes that I went out through already, so I just had to pray that like I could get through my deck fast and cancel. But even then, like it wasn't like I wasn't going to win. By the time he got to level 2, I was already at like 3-3 or 3-4. I was going to lose for sure.
Dang.
Yeah. For the mirror match, uh, one of the reasons why I guess it's kind of my least favorite is that it's very slow and boring, and it's very like cancerous, I'd say. Just because like um, you want to prevent your opponent from leveling up first, and you want to get to level 1 first. So like in my mirror matches, I played one for my 6th round and one for the semifinals. The guy that got third,
Yeah.
Gordon, I think his name was.
Oh yeah.
But for both games, what I tried to do is I effectively made them get stuck at 0-5. So they're in that awkward position where like if they want to clock and be at 0-6, but they can't get to level 1, then like they're not sure if they want to get me to level 1 first, or if they don't want to attack as much or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like for my 6th round, like we kept on canceling a lot at level 0, so we were at level 0 for a long time. But eventually we all got to level 1. It's pretty much who can get off their searches and who can grab their yamis and like who can like kill first or whatever.
Yeah. It's like kind of looking back at the how the Shimikaze Akagi version for Kantai, or the yellow green. It's like literally watching them mirror match type thing, almost like the exact same thing to compare it.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty boring. Like some of my friends are watching, they said, "Yeah, the mirror match is pretty boring," and like you have things where like you want to get your backups first, so like your opponent doesn't get their Mekon surges and stuff like that. So, it's I think it's pretty boring, but that's pretty much my least favorite matchups. Fortunately, when I was playing against them, like for the sixth round, one of the guys, the guy when he got to level 1, he didn't realize he had only yellow in his clock in his level zone, so he couldn't play his Mekons. So I had to point that out to him. So he pretty much had to skip that turn. And then he had an open field, so like I got him to like level 2 the next turn. So he didn't really. He did get his Mekon searches, but like at that point, it's like kind of hard to like stabilize after taking that much damage, because I noticed he was also kind of getting low on climaxes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then for the other mirror match, the semifinals, the guy like he had his Mekon searches and his Yamis stuck in his clock a lot, so I didn't really notice him play the 0-0 clock swap. So he's in that awkward position where like his combo pieces are like stuck in suspension, so he doesn't have any way to get them back, and he has to like get like a refresh or whatever.
Yeah.
But in those matchups, ironically, I got off triple Mekons in those games at either like at the first time I played them or like at some point during the game. So you just have to be really careful when it comes to the mirror matches, regardless of any deck you play. Like you should know like your like the strengths and weaknesses of your deck and like how your deck functions. So it's something to keep for the mirror match.
Like you said, regardless of series, always good to know. Like obviously know what your opponent is running. Like I've been able to do that. Like if anybody else is like trying to make a Contai build or whatever, or I've actually had some of the guys at the locals go, "Hey, can you make me a Contai deck?" And I just look at my box of just mass loads of cards and go, "Sure, give me like 5 minutes," and be able to do that, and they'll be playing against me, and I'll be able to point out to them or whatever, and just like, yeah, you know, this, and that. So I understand where you're coming from. You got to know this stuff. You got to know your stuff.
Yeah, and especially if you're going into a regional, like.
Oh yeah.
I feel like if you're gonna go into like a competitive setting, like you should know like the strengths, like the ins and outs of your deck. Like you should expect to play against meta decks at regionals. Like everyone complains about meta decks or whatever, but like you're going into a competitive setting, like there's gonna be meta decks. So it's a good idea to like learn their strengths and weaknesses so you can capitalize and take advantage of like what they lack in, or like what they lack in like their certain levels or whatever, or like what cards they're gonna play. So you don't have to ask like, oh, what does this card do, or like, oh, okay, so what is he probably gonna do with this card? Like you should know. Like what I did a lot with one of my friends, Austin. I played with him. I played tested with him for like a couple months, just him and I, and like we played different decks just to see like, okay, what does this deck do? Like what's the goal plan of this deck, and like how am I gonna get there, and like what's the weakness of this deck or whatever, and how can I take advantage against that?
Mm-hmm. Understandable. But actually, also like you said, that being so, semifinals was mirror match. The final round, that for all the marbles, how was that, bro? I from what I remember, how you said was pretty tense.
It was like, unfortunately, like my friends didn't record it because they were afraid. They didn't know if you're allowed to record things. But then like the judges after the game, they're like, "How come you guys didn't record it? Like this game was good." But
I wouldn't expect them to be allowed to do that. Like,
yeah, right.
So okay, that's weird. Good to know for the future, but weird.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a pretty intense game. Like the finals was my friend Lewis, the guy that I crashed at his place, and like he also stayed in our hotel room, and like honestly, I'm happy that I got the chance to play like against him. Like if it could be anybody else, like I was happy to play against him. Like before we started the game, like we knew like there was no hard feelings, and like we shook our hands and stuff like that.
It's like, hey, thanks for letting me crash at your place. I'm about to wreck your face. Nah, just kidding.
Yeah. Also, I would like to mention, like, I think, despite like being like competitive, like in a competitive thing, like, what I did in all my games is that like no matter like if I like won or lost, and like I always say like, oh, good luck on your next game or whatever, and like or good game and like stuff like that. So
absolutely, good sportsmanship is yeah, you got to have it.
Yeah, but my friend Enrique was joking about like, oh, look at the finals, like. Who needs to go to regionals? It's literally just mana-tied locals. It's funny because like him and I are like known to be like the people that cancel a lot for our locals.
Mm-hmm.
So like we both cancel like a god during the game. At one point I was stuck at 3-3 for like quite some while, and then like he was still at like level 2, like early level 2, and like I just kept on canceling all his attacks, and I was really compressed, and at one point I made him take 9 damage, so he also got to like 3-3 as well, and then like eventually like I was at 3-5, and like he played his Umis that like burn on play, the one from the the DX2 movie set, right?
Yeah, I remember.
And I canceled one of those burns, and then I canceled those attacks as well, and like I Project Darkness pretty much saved my pretty much saved the game for me for that. And then like next turn I had a field of Yamis, and like I tried to play another Yami climax. I tried to get another Yami climax, so I clocked the 3-6, but I didn't draw into anything. I didn't draw into the climax, so he was at 35. So at that point he had an empty field, and I'm like, fuck it. I moved my weenies, and like I just swung for exact damage for 2.
Exactly.
And the first attack was for no Soul Trigger, so it was for lethal damage, and he didn't cancel, so that was game.
Oh.
So that's the thing that people should be aware of, is like level 3 is one of the more intense levels, and you should be more mindful of like how many climaxes are left in your opponent's deck. Like common habit I like to do is I like to ask my opponent like how many climaxes are left in their deck, so I can have a good understanding of like when I go to attack or like direct attack, I know if it's gonna cancel or not or whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was it was pretty intense. Like when people were watching it, they couldn't believe how much I was canceling. Like they told me like I pulled the biggest comeback ever. Like I'll admit I shouldn't have won that game, but I somehow did.
Oh my god, it's just that's just funny to me, but at the same time, that is awesome. Just it's one of the cooler things about Weiss is just how close games can get like that, and I enjoy watching those types of games. So,
and his Umi deck is really good. I like how Lewis he runs this level 1 combo with this Umi combo where he salvages after damage has been done.
yeah.
So it ignores anti-salvage. So with the last attack, you get a salvage regard. Like you don't care if your cards get -3 still because all your characters have already attacked for that. So you get 1 salvage off of the last attack.
Okay. Oh yeah, because it's on the reverse, which is after damage and all that. So yeah, shoot, that works great.
Yeah, so it's like it is like people joke about waifu decks, but like if you build it to a way where it has like it's like it can be like it has a game plan, like it's aware of like the meta or like its matchups and stuff like that, then it can be a viable deck.
Exactly, and I mean, like you said, waifu decks or whatever. Regardless, I mean, like you said, if you plan it out and it can work for it, and people just overlook that.
Yeah, and my tip is for like people like if you're gonna build a set, like look at all the cards, like look at the level 0s and like look at the level 1s, 2s, and 3s. Like when people are attracted to a set, like they probably look at the level 3s first or like as a finisher. But I personally like looking at the level 0s because I feel like level 0 is one of the more like I guess quote unquote like skill based levels where like you have to actually think about what you're gonna do, like how you're gonna set up for like the later parts of the game, or like how you want to like sculpt your hand or whatever and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I look at the cards in your deck and look at the cards for the series and like think about like what is the game plan, like what does this set want to accomplish, and, like what are my matchups and stuff like that. How is this deck gonna do against whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yep.
But like you said, also looking at the meta for that, are there any sets that you think are going to come out? I know you mentioned Persona 5 earlier. You think any particular sets are going to impact the meta like that? P5 being potentially one of them.
I definitely think the switch combo for SAO needs. It's the way it is that like English can't really deal with that. Being able to attack all that much, and I haven't tested it. But I played against it, and but it was with a JP. I think I used Tour or whatever. But it's the whole switch combo when it works, like it's pretty scary. I mean, of course you can still cancel and stuff, but it's definitely worth like noticing and like being prepared for.
Exactly.
And then SAO re-edit, it's gonna be a good set, like especially if you want to get into SAO because it has all the like meta cards that you need in one one booster box. So
exactly, like a lot of people who got in later that maybe say, "Oh, I want to pick up SAO stuff," but then miss out on the first 2 sets because they're already out of freaking print at that point. That's stuff like that's going to bring a lot of that back to the new people who are new to it, and it'll be interesting to see.
It gets rid of the stress of like, oh, okay, I have to find this card that's probably like cost some money because it's in like a Trouter, like the what's it called, the Machine of Ice Sinon.
Yes.
Some people like that, yeah. And I think it's overall cheap. I'm not sure if like the reprints are cheaper. Like I haven't checked the JP singles, like how the re-edit singles are like for like the reprints, but I'm pretty sure it's cheaper. But it saves you that stress of like having to like go through, like having to find through cards and stuff.
Yeah, like I've already noticed a lot of the in English, a lot of the ones that we still currently have like in stock and whatnot, as far as like some of the Mother's Rosario cards, those have already been coming down a little bit in price, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
But as far as like also stuff getting brought over, I'm sorry, you were gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna I say SAO is gonna be like the first set for English that has those clear border text SPs as well, which is pretty cool.
That's gonna be nice to see.
And if I could like give like some thoughts on like Persona 5, if that's okay.
Go for it. Go for it. I'm sorry.
Like I think Persona 5, it has like potential, like going more into it. Like so far, I guess the defining meta build is the blue yellow and then like
Joker.
splash red. I mean, but the way Persona is, like Persona 5, is that like all the colors I think are pretty serviceable. So no matter what build is, it's at least playable.
Mm-hmm.
But I think blue yellow it gives that plus engine that Persona lacked before, and it gives you the Akatsuki effect. That's pretty good, and being defensive with the Futaba level 3, best girl by the way.
Let's say unless you're on the Futaba, absolutely.
Yeah. I think it's arguably worse in like the Tularu matchup because you can't anti damage their Yamis, whatever. But like against other sets for English, and Persona 5 has a good matchup. I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I don't like is the level 3 Joker. Like it doesn't. It's not. I wouldn't consider it as a reliable finisher. Like the heal is nice, but like, and you have like the 2-1 Joker assist that like helps you scry potentially, and like. Know what you're going to trigger or whatever, but I wouldn't consider it as like a finisher compared to like Yami or whatever.
Yeah. Different scale type thing as far as that's concerned. Yeah,
that's pretty much it. What I think about for the upcoming sets for English meta. I don't think the first set Excel World is going to be relevant for Abyssals. I want to make. I at one point I thought about making Abyssals because I thought the level 1 I forgot her name, the level 1 bomb, not the level 1 bomb, the level 1 combo where a gold bar where you can get rid of a level 0 card anywhere on your opponent's field to get rid of the back row.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool, but for at least for upcoming sets, I think Persona 5 and SAO re-edit are definitely meta contenders.
I know Joe Schmo's definitely wanting to pick up P5. He has been waiting for that for so long.
I'm gonna pre-order half a case, hoping to get a SP Futaba. But if anyone has SPs, hit me up because I want to get all the SPs for P5.
Absolutely. Oh, because I know we'll be pulling them like crazy here too. So hell, I'll let you know whatever we don't get.
Yeah.
Or whatever we get when you're looking for type thing. We'll round this up in a little bit here. Sorry, I forgot that you had said that you wanted to mention about P5 earlier.
Okay, you're
good. Any sets that are currently only in Japan that you would like to see in English eventually, like that haven't already been announced?
Okay, so I have two standpoints on this question. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give like my meta opinion and my casual opinion.
Go for it.
For my meta opinion, I think Monogatari second season and Cinderella Girls 2 should come to English.
Okay.
Primarily because people want those sets really bad. Like a lot of people play CG or like like the current state, like how especially for Bake Monogatari / Nisei Monogatari, like let's be honest, like they need second season to be relevant for English. Some people fear that like those two sets are not like because of like how the recent JP restriction list was. But people have to keep in mind with like the restriction list is based on popularity of like or like representation in like strictly Japanese official tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
So especially now, I think since we have Tularu, like people were scared of Tularu and like in Japan land. Now like people don't even really play Tularu. Like, they'd rather play something else. And from when I saw JP prices for Tularu, it's actually pretty dirt cheap compared to English Tularu. But then again, JP singles are generally more cheaper than English singles. But I digress.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, but I think mostly though, if we can get like more meta sets like Monogatari second season and Cinderella Girls too. Like people understand like more value of how like money counters, damage counters and rest counters work. Like how they have such a big impact into like the meta and like how they can change the course of the game. And like people should be able to like expect to like know their matchups against these meta decks. Like if you can have like experience on like how these meta decks play, then like I think it'll personally make you as like a better player. So at least you'll know like what you need to do to like play against these type of decks, or like what these decks do.
And then you too can win regionals.
Yeah, I mean, I think the more you get like the way Weiss is, I feel like is like it's like the basic goal is to get your opponent to 28 damage and win, but there's such a like complexity to like how mechanics work in this game, or like how like card effects are and stuff like that, like how triggers and stuff.
Yeah,
it's just it can be a pretty intensive game. It's just how you make of it, but that's my opinion for the JP set that I want to see come to English for meta, at least. For the casual opinion, I also want to say for the meta thing is that like there's always going to be meta decks, like no matter where you go, like even when you go to your locals, there's going to be meta decks. Like you have to get used to it. Like you can't complain about meta decks. It's always going to be there. Like no matter what TCG you play, there's going to be meta decks.
Oh yeah, there's always going to be the competitive scene, no matter the card game. So, absolutely.
Yeah. And for my casual opinion, I'd like to see like the power up sets come, like Kill a Kill, Log Rise, and Hardy.
I think see that.
Yeah, I think English Bushiroad, they haven't like really addressed the whole like. I think some people are asking like, why aren't we getting these power up sets? And I think they haven't said anything, which is kind of weird. But English Weiss for like those sets, Kill a Kill, Log Rise, and Hardy, they're in this awkward state where like, they're playable, but like, you definitely feel better if you get like a power up set. Like I've seen like those power up sets like for like other sets, or even like these sets like do some work. And it's a nice way to show the support for the community. Like it makes older sets feel more like relevant with English Weiss, at least.
It definitely gives them the boost that's needed to be able to say, "Hey, we're here still."
And not just like the power up sets, like other sets too, like Persona 4. Like we only got like the version E, but there's like there's PQ. Like those cards helped a lot for like different types of decks for Persona 4. Like how come we didn't get that?
Exactly. I want to get more of my Mitsuru cards.
Yeah, there's like all these other sets in English that like we haven't gotten more support for. So like, I can understand why people are kind of feel depressed when they have like they want to play their favorite series, but like the effects are clearly outdated. Like when you compare newer cards to older cards, like you can see how much Weiss has grown as a game.
Exactly. Like shout outs to Timmy. He says this all the time with like Fairy Tail.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, no, if they could just like redo Fairy Tail altogether and just give me a better set, just Urza, you know. So I know he's had his rants about that. So
yeah,
I completely understand where you're coming from on that. So yeah. Oh my goodness, just so much stuff that does need to come over here. That would be amazing to come over here.
Yeah, like I know for sure, like we're never going to be able to keep up with JP, but like at least make it so the English format is like it's in a nice state where like if I get into if I'm a new player and I get into a series that I like, I don't want to feel like shit knowing that like I can't get these cards or I can't mix these cards together, because the way like how for at least official Weiss tourneys, you can't mix like English and JP cards together into one deck.
Exactly.
So,
we actually had one guy, not going to say any names, person come out to our locals and has already signed up for the tournament and everything, and goes, hey, are Japanese decks allowed? He's already signed up and everything, and we're like, bruh, this is English only, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And he's like, oops. Like he didn't even think to ask, and just until we were literally about to start round one, and we were able to help him out. Like we had extra decks on him, and just was like, hey, I got this extra. One of the other guys had like an extra trial deck, and it's just like, here, you can just use this. So it worked out, but at the same time, that's the thing. If people just don't immediately realize that you can't mix it, like if they're new, so it's like, yeah, it's all good. But yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap this up after. I was gonna see if you had any shout outs you wanted to throw out there, bro.
I have a ton of shout outs.
Go for it, man.
Okay, shout out to Enrique and Downey for taking me to regionals. Without them, I wouldn't be able to even like be here talking to base damage.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to my best friend Austin, who play tested me for months, so I can like be able to adapt to different decks, especially against the fucking Soul Rush decks. I hate Soul Rush decks so much, but like it was funny because like the third round was the Sugami Nisekoi Chitoge Soul Rush deck.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the decks that my friend Austin mostly plays for as his English deck. So I'm like, when I got to round 3, I'm like, okay, I know what I need to fucking do against this matchup. Like I've play tested this card. I've been freaking traumatized by this series so much. Like I know what I need to do. But yeah, thank you like for him for playtesting me every like Thursday and Saturdays. Like him and I would just go to our local scenes. Like it's pretty depressing since like Weiss is dead in our community. But him and I would just play, and we'll play next to the Pokemon people, and like they'll be like, oh, what's that? And I'll tell them like, oh, it's our waifus that are like dead in our community. But shout out to Maxim and the other people in the NA community that helped me get my cards for Tilaroo, especially the people that gave me good deals for the petite Mekons, because I got them for under $30 at the time.
This is great.
Shout out to the Florida crew, because not just like the Orlando or Tampa people, just like everyone in general as a whole in Florida, because like we're kind of like the underdogs of the game, like for representation. Like this was the first Weiss Schwarz regional for Florida. And,
for real?
Yeah, most people they went to Atlanta because the regional was and was held at Atlanta. So that's why a lot of Atlanta people came to our regionals this year. Shout out to Shiako Clan for our podcast group for helping me provide spicy opinions.
Hell yeah.
And also, importantly, shout out to Base Damage for taking the time to interview with me.
Oh, my heart.
And also, I just want to personally say thank you to everyone who plays and support this game. Like, no matter how big or small your community is, like, you're doing service by playing this niche game out there. And like, some people, like some of us I noticed, might not agree on how like our builds are. Like, I can see how some people are very strongly passionate on their opinions of the game, but like overall as a community, it shows how much we care about this game. And like, I would like to see Weiss keep on growing and making those like happy Weiss moments where like you cancel and you end up winning the game.
Absolutely.
Keep on coming.
Absolutely, and that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see for this game a whole bunch as well, is just to see it grow. So yeah, I'm right there with you on that. So, but dude, thank you. Any other shout outs?
Nope. But I want to do it's
all good.
Shame, just selfless promotion for
yes.
my Waifu Wars.
It will be link in the description, because your channel is really awesome, and I know you said you had to wait a while for posting any new content for a while, but definitely y'all check out this guy's channel just straight up. It is awesome.
Yeah, we do podcasts on like meta related stuff where we just like talk about whatever, but try to keep it Weiss related.
It's all good.
That's pretty much it. Oh yeah, and also shout out to Top Tier Tiers. When I was like getting ready for regionals, like every day I'd watch their videos on like different sets, and just like it helps. I like hearing their different opinions on like what cards, what they think of, and like how these effects are. It helped me a lot with like on the competitive aspect on like how this game is.
Okay, I need to go back and read through some of their stuff. So I haven't checked out a lot of their new content in a while. So
Oh yeah, and also shout out to the Discord for the memes.
Oh, the dank memes.
Discord, yeah.
All right, man. We'll sign off here, and thank you once again for joining us, bruh. I next. Thank you. Um, up sometime soon, we're gonna be. I'm also gonna be trying to do a set discussion for Konosuba since that has come out now, and I was like, oh wow, yeah, I need to go ahead and talk about this. So that'll be hopefully up soon. Other videos up this week as well. Links in the description for various YouTubers between Joe Schmo, between Waifu Wars, and just check them all out. Thank y'all very much for listening. Please hit that subscribe button. It'd be much appreciated. And we will see y'all on the flip side. Peace.